NFL Week 4. We had a tie this week, Alex. Your thoughts immediately after that tie?
Yeah. So you know what? Honestly, looking at Jordan Love's performance, I'm pulling something up here, so I'll talk while I'm doing both. Um, Jordan Love had a hell of a game. As a fan of the Packers, like, I have nothing to complain about. Well, I have some things to complain about, but like in terms of when you look at um Jordan Love's performance. And you take away like how the players did themselves, they did really well. Um, Jordan Love, sorry, you two can talk. I'm trying to find this really quick.
Yeah, so for the Packers and Cowboys, it was a huge game. Obviously, Micah Parsons returning to Dallas, his home where he was drafted, and it was a back and forth affair. It was the most efficient offense between both. It was the first and second most efficient offensive game for both teams. And it was the first and second worst in terms of efficiency on the defensive side. So it was an absolute shootout. I think for the Packers, I was going to ask you guys later on, but we can go into the fraud or for real. Is this Packers slump for real, or is it a fraud? Is it just a little hiccup in their season so far? Dad, I'll go to you first.
I think it's just a blip in the radar screen because a loss and a tie, they weren't expecting to do that because that Cleveland one, I still can't figure that one out. But the tie was bizarre because nine straight drives at the end of the game was like the most drives combined by two teams in years. And to give up a 2 point touchdown and still have a tie is really bizarre. And an unusual score like 40-40. I don't think you ever see that again. So it was really with a seesaw game all game long. And then those announcers on Monday just went bananas over the last 30 seconds of the game. They missed the guys were just kind of out to lunch, trying to get that going, and they weren't really focused. And that check down pass was not a good idea. Throw it in the seats to stop the clock. And they let it run down and didn't even realize it. And they could have lost the game 1 second if they'd thrown it late, lost the game. So they got to watch clock management. I'm sure all the coaches, not just Green Bay's, but everybody is going to be watching clock management because it was such a high profile game that, like when these special teams faux pas we talked about a couple of weeks ago, everybody's worried about special teams, but now it's clock management. So no check downs. When the clock's running and you're out of TOs, you better get moving. And so, because they could have run another play and then kick the field goal, but they had no time. So um, that's one thing to check. But Dallas's defense, is they lost Micah to Green Bay and it didn't help them. And they realized that was a big trade. Green Bay aced out on that, but I think it's a hiccup having a loss in a tie like that because we were talking about running the table. I know you guys in your Brotherhood Ballad were talking about running the table. So what can they still go 15-1-1? I think. Yeah, they could. So it's kind of have a 1-1 like that. Teams can do that. But I think it's Green Bay's still an excellent team, and that Micah Parsons, boy, and most linemen have big numbers like 89 or but number one usually it's like somebody on the offense in the backfield, like a running back or receiver or Q. But that's weird to have a defensive lineman be number one. So, but he's really good, and he really helps out the Packers, and I think they'll win a lot of games. I think it's a hiccup. So.
Alex, your
Yep.
thoughts?
Yep. So going back, so Jordan Love was 31 of 43 with 337 passing yards, three passing touchdowns, no interceptions. Obviously there was a strip sack at the end of the first half. Um, and so looking at Jordan Love's performance, and obviously everybody's eyes are on the quarterback. That's just how that goes. Jordan Love had a hell of a game. I can't be mad at all. I mean, he looked very, very good. Um, it's time to look at a few things though. One, it's time to give Jordan Love the full play calling um, ability with his headset communication up to the OC. Matt LaFleur needs to be done calling plays. He needs to focus on his job as the head coach. His play calling skills do not resemble how good of a head coach he is. Um, and people who are, like chanting "Fire LaFleur," it's like you guys are just idiots. Like you're just saying shit with no other plan in mind. Like fire LaFleur and then do what? Who do you want to hire? Like Jim from the like bus stop? Like Matt LaFleur is a hell of a head coach. No, I don't think he should be the play caller, but he's just so like it's just fans calling for his fired. That's just dumb. Um, but one thing that is a concerning issue is I believe since the year after we've won the Super Bowl, our special teams has ranked in the bottom 20 for like 14 years now. Um, and right now we're ranked 30th. Our special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia, formerly of the page or the Raiders, needs to go. That does need to happen because some fans are trying to say, oh, like we're two blocked kicks away from being 4-0. I don't know if I agree with 4-0. 3-1, I for sure agree with. There's no way to say that that blocked kick in the uh, Browns game for sure comes out with a win because um, either way, there's a chance that going to overtime. Now the Cowboys game, that is for certain. If that PAT does not get blocked and the game plays out the exact same way, we do win the game. So I do think the Packers should be 4-0, at worst 3-1 from where they are now. But they do go into a bye week, which I think is huge. A lot of the players were talking about how after starting off 2-0 against the top contenders in the NFC, they thought they were invincible, um, which is good that they showed humility. I think it's probably a true statement. They beat the Lions, a home opener, first time in LaFleur's career, beat them by 2 touchdowns, make a statement. Then on a short week, they turn around to beat the Commanders on 9-11 in a whiteout game, again by 2 possessions. And then it was just like, wow. Even me, like obviously I'm on top of the world. I'm a Packers fan. They just beat two of the best contenders in the NFC. And then somehow Kevin Stefanski figures out a game plan to beat us. Like, you don't lose to Kevin Stefanski. Now, Schottenheimer, you don't lose to Schottenheimer either, but we didn't lose nor we didn't win. But I think this bye week is crucial. As looking at it from the most unbiased way possible, I don't think we should lose a single game in November, or sorry, October, playing the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Steelers, and the last team we play the Bengals on the 12th, the Cardinals on the 19th, and the Steelers on the 26th. There's no reason we don't go 3-0 in the month of October. Sorry, Willie Pete, but we'll be at that game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned in that Cowboys game, if that 2 point touchdown, we rarely see it happen. It was a huge momentum shift that kind of shifted the entire course of the game. We see these momentum shifts happen all the time, and I think the big story this past week and a huge momentum shift for the New York Giants when they started Jaxson Dart, a rookie. Benching Russell Wilson was going to be the best thing that they do all season. Jaxson Dart came out like a bat out of hell. He was running the ball all over the field like he was playing for the Rebels. And it was a darty party. I think Scadaboo is a great running back for them. It's unfortunate though that Malik Neighbors did tear his ACL and will be
That's
out for the
horrible.
season. We had key injuries to big players. Joe Alt for the Chargers got injured,
Yeah.
and we saw Tyreek Hill get injured on Monday night. So just some horrible injuries. It's bound to happen in football, but it just sucks that it happens to these players. I think for winners and losers for the NFL this week, I had Jackson Dart as my number one winner. I think another winner was the Chiefs were actually able to show life. They've been kind of sleepwalking through the first couple weeks of the NFL season. I think a winner is the Cowboys fans. Normally they're very depressed and unhappy with things, but a tie is better than a frequent loss for the Cowboys. I think another winner, Bo Nix. He played his best game of the season so far and had a career high in passing yards against a depleted Bengals squad. And then a loser. In that Colts game, Adonai Mitchell had basically cost the Colts 14 points. He had 75 yard that would have been a touchdown, but he fumbled the ball out of the end zone for a touchback, and then he had a holding call called against him that would have resulted in another Colts touchdown. So that was a very tough way for the Colts to lose to the Rams, 27-20. So he's my biggest loser of the week. And to finish out our fraud or for real segment, I wanted to ask you guys about Aaron Rodgers. Do you think it's fraud or for real the way he's played these first 4 weeks of the season for the Steelers? That I'll go to you first.
Oh, well, they're doing pretty good. Isn't Pittsburgh doing good with
Three
him?
and one.
Yep,
Yeah,
three and
I
one.
didn't think there. I think he's doing fine. I mean, he played, of course, with the Jets for a while, and of course, Green Bay a long time. But he's still going. Isn't he almost 40 or over 40
He
now?
is 40.
40, yeah. So for him to truck along and all, and that Pittsburgh, they're one of the upper teams in the AFC North and that. So I think it's for real. Well, Pittsburgh usually has a good team anyway because they've had good teams for years, but he's doing pretty good. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a couple things. One, I want to make a proclamation that the NFL should ban turf fields. All injuries happen on turf fields. I don't think turf fields should be allowed in the NFL. Tyreek Hill probably just ruined his whole career. He tore his ACL, tore other ligaments, and dislocated his knee in one injury on a turf field. Joe Alt plays at SoFi Stadium, which is all turf. MetLife Stadium is an outdoor stadium, but it's like 95-5 turf to real grass. It's the same shit with Odell. Same stuff, new day. I mean, just ruining players' careers. Malik Neighbors has so much potential. His ceiling is through the roof, and his career is going to be just stuck in the mud by injuries by playing on these turf fields. It's like the USA is bringing the World Cup to our country this coming summer, and all these American football fields that are having the World Cup soccer games on, all are on turf field. The World Cup final is supposed to be at MetLife turf field. I would hate to see some of the best soccer players in the world, the World Cup's the highest watching sporting event in the whole world, and see some of these great athletes fall because of poorly managed stadium fields. But sorry, to answer your question, oh, of course I'm gonna say this is real. Rodgers is like that. Did you see the video of him ripping a smelling salt before he threw that bomb to DK Metcalf? Hell yeah, I love it. The Steelers have a bye week this week. Then they actually go home to play Cleveland. So I think they should fare well in that game against Cleveland. Um, Wait, did I read that? Sorry. They play the week after their bye week. They play Cleveland at home, and then the following week they go on Thursday night. They play Cincy on the road, and then the last week in October they play the Packers. I think both these I think the Steelers and the Packers both have cases to be meeting up at with each other on that prime time Sunday night game with only one loss apiece.
I could very well see that happening. I think for the Steelers to continue that the way that they're playing, it's a lot of it's on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders and Mike Tomlin just being able to play to his strengths. Because right now, Rodgers has a couple pitches in his wheelhouse. He has that back shoulder fade, and he's getting rid of the ball quickly is a priority, especially because he is in his 40s and unable to move quickly in the pocket. Another Another huge game. The Eagles barely escaped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have been really scrappy all year. They've been winning these close games. They almost took it down to the end against the Eagles. And a stat that I had for you guys, the Eagles completed zero passes in the second half of that game. And it was really a tale of two halves. You barely see an offense play really well in the first half and then absolutely shit the bed in the second half. And the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he's a Super Bowl champion coming off that victory against the Chiefs in February. But his status as an elite quarterback is always questioned because you never really see a Mahomes or a Lamar or a Josh Allen have zero passing completions. When he did, there was 11 opportunities for a completion, and he didn't complete any of them in the second half. Is Jalen Hurts as an elite quarterback a fraud or for real? And is this Eagles offense fraud or for real? Or are they in danger? Dad will
Who
go.
you want me to go me on the first? Um, well, it's I would say it's up in the air yet. I'm on the fence on that one because that's true. They were grinding it mostly, and that he's always been noted as a running quarterback anyway. When he at Alabama, he ran a lot there, and that so I mean he can throw if he has to, and he's blessed with having such talent around him that he does pretty good anyway. But so I wouldn't throw him under the bus. I think he can really do it if he has to because he did win the Super Bowl. So I think he's for real.
Alex.
Yeah, um, I think Jalen Hurts is kind of a fraud. I mean, actually, sorry, I take that back. He's not a fraud because he's a Super Bowl MVP, so I can't. I mean, I can't take that away. It's something Jordan Love doesn't have, so I should keep myself in line. But he really is the master of checkdowns. Like, I don't think there's anybody that throws a better 1.5 yard checkdown than Jalen Hurts. I mean, damn, he's good at it. Uh, Now, my concern is like why the hell AJ Brown is on this bullshit cryptic tweet shit at the end of each game, talking at like, dude, your team is undefeated. You just won a Super Bowl. You have enough money for the next fucking 50 generations of your family to eat, your kids to go to college, your like, I mean, your whole family tree is set for who knows how long. You have hundreds of $1 million in the bank, and you're complaining that you didn't get enough targets. Like, are you shitting me? Go to a team. Like, go back to the Titans. I mean, go back to Tennessee and see how you like it there. Not winning, not getting a Super Bowl and getting underpaid. And then you might stop all this cryptic shit and actually tweet what you mean. Um, Saquon has been MIA in my opinion for the season he had last year. Wouldn't consider their offense frauds yet. I mean, the Buccaneers didn't even look all themselves, to be honest. They started the game off horrible, super slow. Baker did not look that good to start off the game, but it was just too little, too late, in my opinion, for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, looking ahead to this week, looking at the game slate, there's not a lot of games that I do love, but we can kind of go through each one. But before that, for the NFL for 4 weeks already, we're almost a quarter of the way through. Has any of your early season predictions changed, like the MVP case or the Super Bowl champion case? Dad, we'll start with you. Has anything changed through the first 4 weeks of your thoughts before the season?
Well, KC, they got good this week and won, but they were off to a slow start. I did not expect they'd be 2-2 after this, after 2 weeks, but they finally got going in their game there this past week because I had Baltimore favored to win. I thought Baltimore was going to win, but KC won it big. So normally they win them real close. People actually left Arrowhead early, which is almost unheard of because usually they're hanging on for dear life and kick a field goal or something at the end, but they were way ahead. So that was a surprise, and they got everybody's attention. They might start rolling after a slow start. They figured things out. That was one I had, and then Denver's rolling along pretty good. They're doing pretty good too. So both of those teams are going to be up there. Of course, the Chargers and the Raiders it's a tough division. So, but I like the Broncos and the Chiefs.
Alex, any predictions have changed for you?
In terms of like end of season awards. Um, MVP, but yeah, probably Lamar hasn't looked the best. Um, it almost feels like too early. Like from what I've watched, it doesn't feel like there's one person that has stood out to make themselves a clear candidate for MVP, unlike there has been players that have clearly set out to be a Heisman watch, for example. Um, but nowadays the MVP is just the quarterback award, so like Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Love, Hurts, whatever. I mean, one of those people is going to win it, and whoever wins, am I going to be surprised? No, because the NFL doesn't care about giving it to the person who deserves it the most, clearly. Hence, Josh Allen winning it last year, not Saquon, even though Saquon broke the record. That's neither here or there. Um, in terms of specific awards, um, yeah. The only one that I still really like for DPOY as of now is either Miles Garrett or Micah Parsons. That's the only one where I can be like, yes, I really am confident in this pick. Packers have a bye week, so I'll be able to check out a lot of the games this week.
Yeah, looking ahead for this week, we have a really good Thursday night game this week. 49ers and Rams. Rams are favored. I think for each game we can kind of go through who we think is going to win and if the spread will cover in some games. If in some games too, we can just predict the winners. I think, do we all have the Rams in this one?
Yeah, I do. A 6.5 there in SoFi there. I think they can win. I mean, the 49ers dropped their last week against Jacksonville. It's up and coming. they look pretty sharp. They're winning out there, and I think it's Santa Clara they played. Anyway, they look good there on the road net, and I think the Rams will do it. They'll win in SoFi.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just for the next game, I think Denver and Philly will be closer than the experts think. I think Denver will cover the 3.5, but if Philly's for real, this is the game to show it. Bo Nix, he's finally coming into his own. We'll see what he can do, but what do you guys have for this one?
Yeah, I just want to add something really quick before I make my pick. Um, the Super Bowl halftime show might be one of the worst things I've ever seen. Bro, you've got pictures of Bad Bunny in a dress and like high heels. Like I don't want to sound I'm trying to make this sound as like respectful as I can, but like kids are going to be watching this and nobody's going to be knowing what he's saying. Like most American football fans are English speaking people, and Bad Bunny is a like Puerto Rican artist who like raps about ice and certain things like that. I'm not going to get into the politics behind it, but he's made it very clear that his whole like him getting this Super Bowl halftime show was to send a message about speaking up and out against ice. Like, why can't we, like, why does that have to be involved with watching the NFL?
Yeah,
Like,
this
just,
was a tough one, especially like since Kendrick Lamar was last year's performance. He was one of my favorite artists. I think this is a huge step down. Dad, I'm not really sure you know who Bad Bunny is, but
I wouldn't expect
we're,
you to know who Bad
we're not
Bunny
a
is.
fan of him. We'll just say that here on the Brotherhood Ballad side of it.
It's yeah, it sounds controversial, and they had some controversy a while back ago in Super Bowl halftime. They got in trouble, remember, about 10 years ago. And so they gotta kind of be careful when they do stuff like that because it is family entertainment. It's during the family hour, and the kids watch it. They get into football when they're young, so they got to remember those halftime shows. They got to tone it down.
Yeah, I'll only say one more thing because I don't want our show to be like looked at one way or the other. But Bad Bunny in his most recent tour for his album that he released specifically stated that he will not be going to tour in the United States whatsoever because of him being as a Puerto Rican, which gives you American citizenship because America owns Puerto Rico. He won't go tour America because he's worried about his fans in America and ICE raiding his concerts in America, even though he's an American citizen. So it's like it's just this whole thing just seems like a joke. His whole thing is going to the Super Bowl show to speak up against ICE. It's just like, can't we just have like just keep this away from the Super Bowl? You know, if you have every right to feel that way. That's your beliefs, fine. Like that's totally you. Do your thing. But let's get somebody who will try to bring more people to the sport and have like a fun, enlightening concert. Like obviously Kendrick Lamar had his beef with Drake, so there was a little bit of stuff there in the show. But like I just remember in the good old days when it was like Black Eyed Peas, Bruno Mars, Maroon 5, like just these bands that just had good classic songs. Now we've got just politics and shit involved. It's just let's just play football. It's just we don't need this crap.
I agree. Do you have a pick for the Broncos and Eagles?
Yeah, I think if Bo Nix is trying to prove himself, this would be the game to do it. As at this point in in the year. So pick a winner, I'd probably have to pick Philly, but obviously, who doesn't love a good upset?
And the Minnesota Vikings, your beloved rival, is still in Europe this week. They're playing the Cleveland Browns in London. I think the Vikings are playing well in Europe. Maybe they'll have to stay there, but I have them beating the Browns. What do you say?
I have the Browns winning.
Minnesota's favored by 3.5. I think they'll take it, but again, at Cleveland, you never know. They can sneak up on you there. And is that in Wembley Stadium?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because that's
Or it might
where
be in Tottenham Stadium, actually. I think this one is at Tottenham Stadium. The next
'cause
one's at Wembley.
Wembley, because ASU is playing KU in Wembley next year and all. Yeah, and then the Broncos, Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm thinking like Alex that maybe the Broncos could pull it off, but it's at Philly there, and so it probably that'll be close too. But I'll go Eagles, but it'll be close too.
Houston, Baltimore. Houston's actually favored. Baltimore has been struggling as a 1-3 team. They're very injury plagued right now. What do you guys have for this Houston-Baltimore game where the Texans are surprisingly favored? Dad, we'll start with you.
I'll go Houston too. They look pretty solid and all. And of course, it was Tennessee they beat, wasn't it? 26 zip or so. Yeah. I think they can take Baltimore because Baltimore, I thought they were going to beat KC, and they didn't do as well as I thought. So I'll take Houston in that one.
Alex, you have the Texans as well.
No, that's stupid. I don't know why the Texans are favored. The Texans suck. Are you kidding me? CJ Stroud has had like a sophomore and a junior slump. What the hell's going on? Yeah, cool. They just beat the Titans or whoever. Like, wow, you beat the Titans. Uh, there's no way in hell the Ravens lose, especially at home. Are you kidding me? I don't know who's making these odds. I will gladly take the Baltimore minus 1.5 or plus 1.5 or the money line, whichever is more odds in my favor.
Another game where the odds were absolutely shocking to me. The Giants at New Orleans are underdogs by 1.5. I like the Giants in this. I think the Darty Party is going to come to New Orleans, much like Kendrick did for the Super Bowl. So, are we Giants all the way around on this one, or we got a little
Yeah, I am. I think the Giants can win. They look good with Dart and Scattaboo and those guys. They just drove down the first opening drive and were in control. So I think the Giants can win that.
We have a couple just games that'll be really hard on the eye. We got Dallas and the Jets. We have Miami, Carolina. We just have some games that aren't going to be that good. Tennessee, Arizona. I think Arizona is pretty much going to win that one um, pretty well. We have the Raiders and the Colts. I think that's pretty much the Colts. And if you guys have any disagreements while I'm rattling these off, feel free. But the Cowboys and Jets, I think, will be one that'll be not on the multi-view this week. One game that will be, and I think could be the best game of the week, Buccaneers and Seahawks. Sam Darnold has been playing pretty well for being on a new team, and Baker Mayfield is doing Tampa Bay Mayfield things. I have Tampa Bay winning this, a close one. Alex, who do you have in Hawks versus Bucks?
think I think the Seahawks are legit. I still think they're legit. I think them favored at 3.5 is probably correct. Late afternoon game in Seattle at Lumen Field. Um, give me man, give me Seattle. I think uh, I think Sam Darnold is a very solid quarterback. I think yeah, I really do think Seattle's looking nice.
I'm in agreement with Alex on that. I'll take Seattle.
And another game that could be a very well one of the best games of the week, Chargers and Commanders. Does Justin Herbert bounce back after an upset against the Giants? Alex, what do you say?
If Jaden Daniels is playing, give me the Commanders, but if he's not, it's Chargers all the way in my opinion.
Same here. Yeah. It's at SoFi on that one too, and they're favored by 2.5. So yeah, I mean, Commanders are good, but I think San Diego or LA will beat them.
The last three pack we will be looking at here, Lions and Bengals. I think if the Lions win this one, it's going to be tough for their fan base because the Bengals have been really struggling without their quarterback Joe Burrow. And then in my upset pick of the week, I have the Patriots upsetting the Bills. I think the Bills struggled against the Saints, even though they did win. But I think Drake May, not Drake maybe, he's Drake definitely this week. He's going to beat the Bills in an upset pick of the week. Scott, did you have any thoughts on
That's at
that?
Buffalo, isn't it?
It's at Buffalo.
Um, well, yeah, Patriots are getting better now. That's possible, even though they're touchdown plus dogs. That I might go with them too. I might go with the dogs on that one, and New England could pull it out. Yeah.
Alex, am I crazy?
I think the power within Haley Steinfeld's clearly going to take Buffalo to the win here. I love the optimism, though. I would love to see, I love upsets, so I'd love to see that. Um, yeah, there's just no way I can fade the Bills. I mean, it was Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler's birthday both on Sunday when they played the Bills, so that's why the game was close. Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler have the same birthday. That's the only reason why it was close.
That quarterback room has to be really interesting there in New Orleans. Shout out to Tyler Shuck going to Hamilton High. He was a absolute legend. Last but not least, Monday Night Football. We have Chiefs and the Jaguars.
Real barn burner of a game.
I don't think many fans will be watching other than people in the Kansas City metro area and in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, if you're going to prove yourself, do it against Mahomes on Monday night. Why not?
I mean, they almost did a few years ago in the playoffs.
I think this is an opportunity for them to shine, but I do have the Chiefs in that one. Any closing thoughts here? What you guys are seeing through 4 weeks in the NFL, or just any thoughts in general? I know, Alex, you were probably watching that Ryder Cup heavily this weekend. Things didn't really turn out the way that they seemed, and Rory was barking back at the crowd. I bet you have some thoughts on that before we close it out here.
Yeah, I won't have a 13-minute Winston Churchill Scotty Rombough monologue, but I will go off for a couple minutes here. Let me start with this. Like every year in the Ryder Cup, when every 2 years when it happens, like statistically, the United States golfers are like better ranked. They are better on a head-to-head level. So we obviously saw that play out again this year on the final round, like the singles matches on Sunday, because the United States won 5 out of the first 7 matches, and halved one of them. So really, they only lost one, tied one. So they went 5-1-1 in the last 7. Um, so that shows how good those golfers are on an individual level when they're controlling their own games. And this is something that we've seen over the time and history of the Ryder Cup, that the camaraderie of the European team is always so high that that's why they look so good on the first 2 days in the four ball, foursome, alternate shot, stuff like that. Um, Now, in previous Ryder Cups, we haven't put ourselves in such deep holes that we can't come out of it. It's like what happened on Sunday. But I love the resilience that each guy showed at an individual level came Sunday, because I almost didn't even turn it on. Like, I'm like, this shit is over. Like, we just got embarrassed in front of our own fans on our own home turf. Um, but on like to my surprise, here comes everybody marching down. Uh, Bryson, Cam Young, Scotty, JT, all these guys firing on all cylinders on the last day when it counted the most. They kept us into it. Um, I mean, it made it fun to watch on Sunday. Um, if every single day of the Ryder Cup was singles match, we'd win every Ryder Cup ever. I believe now this is only the third or fourth time that the away team has won on the on the away field. Um, in 4 years when in 4 years when the Ryder Cup happens again in the United States, it's at Hazeltine, which is a golf course in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They've had major tournaments there. They've had the Ryder Cup there before, so I will be in attendance. Um, I think new like you can compile like certain cities, groups of fans, like Philly fans. Most people don't like Philly fans. Uh, most people don't like New York fans. Well, ding, ding, ding. We don't like any of the New York fans now because they made us look like a bunch of idiots. They're getting drunk as hell, throwing drinks at Rory's family, calling his wife horrible names. They're screaming obscenities at the players. Like this, like there things like that to an extent happen in both the United States and when they go into Europe. Like the European fans as a whole are way worse than the American fans. But Rory's such a crybaby bitch that of course he's gonna complain. Oh, the fans are like the throwing the drinks at the wife, that clearly has crossed the line. But like the fans yelling at him and like calling him mean names, that's part of the Ryder Cup, baby. Come on. That's gonna happen 10 times worse in Europe. But what I don't appreciate and what does definitely cross the line is when you get their family and their wives and their kids involved and you're assaulting them by throwing drinks and food and stuff. That is past the line. But that's just your average drunk New York fan, right? No respect, no dignity, just a pretty average run-of-the-mill New York fan. So that I can't be upset about because that's expected. But I don't appreciate, like, I don't care what else was said unless it was about the families or like kids. But if it was said about the player to the player, okay, that's the Ryder Cup. That's what is expected. And when we go to Europe, that's what's going to happen. And you won't see is all of the American players bitching and complaining about all the stuff that the European fans, because we take it like real men. We don't go back to our team hotel and have group huddles and cry over watching like George Washington cross to Delaware and take America and take what's ours. So at the end of the day, yeah, it sucks we lost at home on home soil in New York of all places too. But I can't wait for 2027. I'm fired up. New golf season coming soon. Um, and sorry, a couple more other things, and then I'll let you guys finish out. But Bryson has grown on me a ton as a fan. I still hate the fact that he joined Live and what Live stands for and the people who own it. Um, but on Sunday, after he lost 5 out of the first 7 holes of his match. Now, to put that in perspective really quick, obviously golf is 18 holes. So he had 11 holes to come back from a 5 shot deficit. And match play, it's so much different than stroke play because you have to win the hole to get that point back. So in 11 holes, Bryson won 5 of them and then got it even when we needed him the most. He showed up when we literally needed him the most to have a chance. And I love how Bryson wore the red, white, and blue this week. I couldn't be more happy. For golf, he's my winner of the week. He was crying during his post-round interview on Sunday, like the reporter asked Bryson, "Why are you so emotional?" He's like, "Because I love my country and I love my fans. And damn it, I love you too. Even though I hate what you did joining Live." He really laid it all out there. Like him and Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler are probably the 3 biggest true Americans that were on that team. And lastly, I just want to say go USA. I wish there was a new Super Bowl halftime show, and the Wildcats are coming. They're coming with the charge, baby. Go Pack, and I'll let you guys finish it out.
Scotty, I had to ask you before we wrapped up. Out of these last games of the season for Arizona, the last more a little bit more than half of the schedule, like you mentioned, going 3-1 to start the year as you predicted. Do you see any changes to this last end of the schedule, or do you think we'll finish out just like you predicted?
No, probably not. The KU game, I predicted us to win. KU is pretty tough. We're going to have a tough time with them. Houston, I think I predicted us to win. They're pretty tough. And in the road, I said we were having trouble on the road. We're going to have to win a road game this year. And CU is going to be a tough one. And Cincinnati, too. And I think I predicted all wins there. So if we go to a bowl, we're barely squeeze it. So I'm a bit concerned because they could study this tape when we lost Iowa State and use that against us. So I'm going to downgrade it a bit and say if we go bowling, it's going to be close. And in that golf thing, when we did the one in Lamoni there, Alex, you talked about how gentlemanly everybody behaves in the Masters there in Georgia. And I'm thinking this Masters is just the opposite. They go bananas. So it's
Yeah.
totally different world in that. And hopefully people are more diplomatic and realize those countries are
Yeah.
friends with all these countries. We got to get along better. And
Just keep the wives and kids out of it, and everything will be fine.
okay, and I hope they get along better because I've been to Europe. I love going to Europe and that, and I hope that we get along better with them and the fans treat each other better because golf's a gentleman's game like the Masters. Have it like that over there
Absolutely.
too. Yeah. And oh, one thing I did want to mention is that overtime thing nowadays is too short. It's only 10 minutes. And a team, if they kick off or get the ball and go into some grind it out, like running the ball all the time, they can chew up the whole clock and the other team won't get anything. And I really think they should go the whole full quarter because 10 minutes is not enough because the other team has no time to work. They're screwed.
Yep, no sporting event at any level should ever end in a tie. Nothing you do in life should end in a tie. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, they should do it like colleges with alternating possessions and what they do. Not this 10 minutes. That's not enough time.
It's
I
crap. Roger Goodell, get rid of ties and turf fields.
There you go.
I agree 100%. A little bit of diplomacy, a little bit of lunacy here on the Brotherhood Ballad and Rombough Show collab. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week.